What's up, everybody? Welcome to Let's Get Bendy. Now, this week's class is going to be, or today's class, because it's not a weekly class. It's kind of like a every Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. Anyways, this class is going to be a little bit different because we're not going to get straight into the stretching. In fact, I'm going to talk to you for just like a couple minutes here because we're going to talk about something very important to me, and that is PNF stretching. The letter P, the letter N, and the letter F. That's the thing. Okay? This stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. What the heck does that mean? I'll tell you what that means. That means that we are going to be training our muscles and our nervous system and our muscular system and the connection of two into being stretchier. So if you sat down and you stretched like you would normally think to stretch, like just sit and stretch, it does help you get stretchier, but it doesn't necessarily increase your flexibility. And it certainly will loosen you up for the day or after an exercise as a cool down, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you will get stretchier or more flexible. And it also doesn't mean that if you do get stretchier or more flexible, that you will keep that flexibility, because it can go away. I'm sure some of us before have stretched and been like, wow, I feel so loose and tight, and the next day you wake up and you're like, ugh. All right, so this proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, or PNF, that's what you're going to hear me call it, PNF, I'll say it really fast, PNF, is something that we're going to practice more while we're stretching, and I've been a little nervous to explain it to you guys because I'm not an expert in it, and I'm not 100% like educated on how it necessarily works, but I understand the basics enough to explain it and to teach you how to do it safely and hopefully help you guys get some benefits from it. Now, the other thing I was nervous about explaining it was because sometimes it gets really confusing as to what we're actually supposed to do within a stretch. And I'll explain all of this as we go, so it's going to be a slower paced class. So if you're looking for a really intense stretch, this is not necessarily it, but you will get some benefits from it. And once I've explained it in this class, I can touch base on it as we move forward, but not explain it as much in detail. So basically the way that it works is it takes a combination of relaxation stretching, where you're relaxed into a stretch like we normally would. So like if I'm here and I'm just pulling across, I'm doing something, but I'm also relatively relaxed. I'm not straining a whole lot, and my muscles are kind of just letting themselves be stretched, okay? So it's a combination of this plus resistance training. Now, what's resistance training? Resistance is like if I had my fist up against my hand and I'm pushing my fist against my hand at the same time I'm pushing my hand back. This is my resistance. So if I push hard enough with both hands, my hands don't move. If I push hard enough with my fist, my arm will move to the other side. And if I push hard enough with my open hand, my fist is going to move. All right? Now, this resistance training that we're going to do, this part's going to be really important. I'm going to say this a whole bunch, but we are not doing full effort resistance training. So you are not going to sit here and you're not going to push as hard as you possibly can with both sides. We're going to do somewhere between 30 to 40% of our strength. So if you can get here and you can think about how hard you could possibly push, we're just going to ease into it. So we're going to slowly build up the pressure until it's just like a gentle, not too strong, but not too weak pressure between our hand and our fist, okay? And that's where we can use our reference for what we're going to be doing. And it's also important to ease into it, like I said. So we're not just going to go, boom, full force into it. We're going to ease our way, building up the strength. So it combines this passive stretching here with a little bit of resistance stretching. And what that does is it actually teaches our body where our bounds of flexibility are. So bounds of flexibility, I don't know if that's the correct word that I should be using, but this is the word I'm going to use. Basically, the idea is like when I pull my arm in, this is pretty much as far as it goes. I can pull it a little bit farther and I get a little bit more intense, but I feel like it's not really helping that much to pull it that hard. Unless it's like super tight, then maybe I would. But my body is familiar with being relaxed in this position because I'm pulling, but my muscles don't really know how to use that flexibility. So if I pull my arm across here, I can only get it this close to my chest. If I pull with my elbow, I can get my arm all the way in. So how do we teach our body to be able to move into that, move to here without the assistance of my arm? So if I'm talking splits, right, I can push myself into a split here as far as I can go, but then if I stand up, I can't lift my leg into a split. Maybe some of you can, but I can't do it. So I'm using gravity on the ground to help myself lower down. But once gravity's removed from the equation, well, it's still there, but it's in a different place, right? It's not helping anymore. Once gravity's no longer helping, how do we get that flexibility to come back? Well, we actually have to build the strength through the flexibility, and the flexibility through the strength. And the way that we're going to do this is with our PNF stretching. And I know that's been a lot to talk about, and you guys are probably like, this Coach Alex guy is crazy. Like, he's got explosions in his intro, and he doesn't even wear sunglasses, even though they're in the intro, and he doesn't look like Squidward at all, going like this. But anyways, the PNF stretching is what's going to teach our body how to get more flexible, but also maintain strength. And now you also may have heard me say the word stability and mobility before in one of my stretch classes, if you've taken any of them before. Stability is being stable in a certain position. So, for example, in my landing position here, right? So if I'm doing parkour, this is my landing position. If I'm not stable in this position, it puts a lot of stress on my knees, and it can cause injuries in my knees, my ankles, my hips, and even my lower back. And I really don't want those injuries to occur, because those are pretty much like, game changers and ending points for whether or not I can train and do my workouts and do gymnastics or parkour or anything like that. So in order to develop stability, you need to develop the muscles, and it's not just like doing a whole bunch of push-ups or like bicep curls or pull-ups. It's a different type of like strength training where we just train all the little intricacies, so the complexity or the like what's a simpler word than all those things, like the craziness that's happening inside of our body, like in our knee, and all the little connections and things like that. We need to strengthen all those points. And flexibility is a approach that, if done incorrectly, can actually decrease our stability. Man, stuttering on my words. That's okay. That happens sometimes. Doesn't bother me. Okay, so if our flexibility can mess up our stability or our stableness and can cause injury. So one of the big things I always say is, before you work out or before you train, you can do a little bit of stretching. That's not going to be at all harmful. But if you sit in your splits, your left, your right, and your middle split for like a minute, 2 minutes each before you go do some tumbling on the floor, that really increases your chance of injury in your hips and in your legs, like a lot. And it's something we don't want. So I know I'm talking a lot, but I really needed to say these things, okay? So instead of just increasing flexibility and increasing our chance of injury. So, for example, what I mean by that is, like, if I stretch my middle splits for 3 minutes and I just sit in it and I just kind of like, let it be there for 3 minutes, I'm going to get up and my legs are going to feel wobbly. And then if I go and I try to do a flip with wobbly legs, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to end up hurting my hips or my legs in some way, right? So it just doesn't make sense to do. So when we do these stretches, we want to do it kind of after we do some of these workouts. And we definitely want to be warmed up when we do it, okay? So, with that being said, we're going to do a really quick stretch today. Sorry, that was 10 minutes of talking. I didn't realize that I took that long to explain it. And I'm going to keep explaining it, so this class is, weird. We're going to do a few stretches, but I really needed to explain this, okay? Maybe this won't be a class for Let's Get Bendy. Maybe this should just be a what is PNF and why Coach Alex is doing it. But who knows? No, this will be a class. It's going to be a little bit different. Okay, so let's get into the first stretch, and we can really explain how we're going to do it. And then we can try a few more, and then we'll be done. But before we do that, we're going to do a quick warm-up. So let's do 30 jumping jacks to get our body moving. All right, so stand up on your feet and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it moving. Arms moving. Legs moving. We're almost there. Keep it going. I think I'm halfway. We're just trying to get our body moving. Get a little bit of a warm-up going. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So ideally we want to be warmed up and ready to go for this type of stretching. So we're going to take it really easy because I didn't do a crazy warm-up. And we're just going to do a few things just to get the idea of what a PNF stretch is. Okay? And if you want to sound really smart, you can say proprioceptive Nope. Let's try that again because I messed up. If you want to sound really smart and impress your parents and your friends and whoever, you can say proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. But if that's too much of a mouthful, you can say PNF, which is PNF. Those are probably all backwards because of the whole selfie mirroring thing. Anyways, the first thing we're going to do, because I think it's easier to explain, is going to be an arm stretch. The way that this is going to work is you're going to take your arm up and over your head. You've probably seen this one before. I'm going to do it kneeling. It doesn't need to be standing. Up and over my head, and I reach over, okay? So normally what we're going to do is we're going to pull our arm down our back, and we're going to push our head backwards just a bit, like lifting our chin, and this is going to stretch our arm. You should feel it up in this area here, okay? So what we'll do is we'll stretch this position in a nice relaxed stretch just to warm it up. All right, we're not going full force here. We're not being intense. We're just warming up this stretching, this range of motion, okay? The range of motion is how far your arm can move in a certain direction, or like if you did a circle, how big that circle is going to be, okay? So we're just warming up this range of motion here. And once we hold this for a little bit longer, we're going to get into what the PNF stretch is going to be, okay? So we're going to do, don't do it yet, but here's how it's going to work. We're going to do, from this position, we're going to do 2 different things. And we're going to do those things for just 10 seconds. We're going to do one of them for 10 seconds, and then we're going to rest for 10 seconds. And then we're going to do the other one for 10 seconds, and then we're going to rest for 10 seconds. And remember, we're only using about 40% effort. Now, if you're confused by what that is, just don't try as hard as possible, okay? You want to do a lot less than hard as possible. What we're going to do is, number one, where's the angle I'm looking for here? Since we have this hand here, we're going to do a little resistance. I'm going to try to pull my elbow down to the side, but this hand here is going to stop it from moving. So once I'm here, I'm going to relax down into the stretch, and then when I say go, I'll start to count, and I want you guys to slowly start pulling your elbow away from your head like that, but don't let it move with this hand, okay? So you're just pulling and going. So if I do this correctly, watch me, ready? I'm going to start doing it, but I'm not going to move. I'm doing it. You can't tell. I didn't move because this hand is keeping my arm in place, but this arm is actually trying to pull down. So if I don't try hard enough with my hand, whoop, my arm comes down. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is that resistance pulling away. So we've been here for a little while, so here's what we'll do. I'm going to count to 10, and when I get to 10, you should be pushing, all right? When I get to about 5, your push should be about as strong as it's going to get. So we'll slowly build up to 5, and then we're going to push at at that intensity for 5. Remember, it's not a full intensity stretch, it's just 40%. So we're here. Try to pull your, all right, ready? I'm going to start to count, and you're going to try to push your elbow down to the side, but don't let it go anywhere with this hand. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're at 40% here. You're still pushing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't go anywhere, but stop pushing. And I want you to just relax and stretch. See if you can get your elbow to go down just a little bit further. We're going to do that one more time. Okay? So you're just holding your elbow down, stretching it. Pull it as far as you can feel a stretch. And now we're going to push against our hand again. Are you ready? Here we go. In 1, keep pushing. 2, build the strength, get to about 40%. 4 and 5, and then hold it here at this strength for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax it down. So no longer pushing, you're pulling on your elbow now, trying to drop it down behind your back. We'll hold it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't go anywhere yet. We have one more thing we're going to do. Without your hand, you are going to try to get your other hand to reach down your back as far as possible. So I'm going to crawl my fingers down, and I'm going to keep trying to crawl my fingers down my back for 10 seconds, okay? So this hand is not doing anything anymore. I'm just reaching down as far as I can. Here we go for 10, 9, reach further, 6, 5, keep going, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let me explain what we just did there really quick, and then we'll do the other side. Is one, we did resistance pulling away, and then the second one we did reaching further into the range of motion, but only using the muscles in that arm. So instead of pulling the arm with this hand and like getting an assisted stretch, we are using our own muscles, using the muscles within the own arm to stretch ourselves further. That sounds pretty crazy, but that's actually a really good thing, because now what we've done is we've taught this arm how to reach down that far. Rather than just being like, this is how you do it, now it's like, oh, I know how to do it myself. Okay? So rather than having your left arm be taught by your right arm, your left arm knows how to do it all on its own. Now, we don't want to only do it on its own, because then we're missing out on that other half where we get to push and pull and everything like that. But it's super helpful that our arm can do that on its own, all right? Now, you might think, oh, Coach Alex, you're crazy, but I'm telling you, this stuff is actually, like, backed by science. People have studied this, all right? And I'm no scientist, so, you know, maybe I'm crazy. And one last thing is we did both ways. So we did opening up into the stretch, or opening up out of the stretch, and we did going further into the stretch. That's super important too, because then we're balancing our muscle out. We're not just going in one direction. Because if you crank your arm down and back and back and back, it's not going to be strong in both directions here, and you're going to end up with an injury again. So instead, we're able to build that stability within our shoulder in both directions here, building up that strength. Okay, so let's do the other arm now. And I'll stop talking because, you know, I've been talking for a while. We're grabbing our elbow, we're pulling it down. We're just relaxing into it. Okay, don't pull super strong. Just about, you know, a little bit less than half strength here, just so you can get a stretch. We'll hold it for just a little bit longer. And then we're going to do our opening up stretch, and we're going to do our reaching down stretch. So we'll do the open up one twice, and then we'll reach down once, okay? In between each one, we're going to stretch just like this for 10 seconds, okay? So when I'm going to start counting again. When I get to 5, you should be pushing against your hand fully, but not fully, okay? So you should be pushing your hand at about 40%. We're building it up slowly. So what do I mean by slowly? I mean, if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by the time you get to 5, you're all the way there pushing, okay? So here we go. First, we're trying to open our elbow up. Ready? and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you're pushing it about 40% against your hand. Don't let it go anywhere. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax your arm. Let it just be stretched by your other arm, okay? Take some deep breaths. And we're going to do that one more time. Here we go. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pushing, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax it down. And in 10 seconds, we are going to reach our hand as far down our back as we can, all on its own. Okay? So you can let go. I'm going to turn around so you can see. I hope you can hear me. I'll count to 10. We're crawling our fingers down. Ready? And go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now both of our arms have been familiar or have been taught this resistance, pulling out and pulling in with some assistance and also on their own, and we've built some strength within our range of flexibility. That's what this is all about, building strength within range of flexibility. We're going to do one more stretch. I know this has been 20 minutes of me talking. I'm excited about it, if you can't tell. This stuff is really cool to me. I'm going to do one more stretch that I'm going to show you. It is for, no, let's do this one. Everybody's favorite stretch, the butterfly stretch. And the reason why I'm doing the butterfly stretch is because it's really easy to explain how to do the PNF stretching method, okay? So number one, we're just going to try to open our knees out to the ground. We can use our elbows to put a little weight. Your feet are trying to open up like a book, okay? So you're trying to read what's on the bottom of your feet. Okay, now from this position, I want you guys just to relax while I talk, okay? You're getting in a stretch here. There's the two, the two things we're going to do for our PNF stretching. Number one is going to be trying to close our legs. So our legs are open, we're going to close them up. But we are going to provide resistance with our elbows. So as we try to close our legs, we're going to be pushing back with our elbows. Now, this is at 40%, so we're pushing, and if you do it right, your legs don't move anywhere, okay? If you're pushing too hard with your legs, your arms will start to close. If you're pushing too hard with your arms, you could end up injuring your legs, okay? So we're just opening up, we're pushing against our elbows, okay? That's number one. And the second one is going to be our elbows are here, and we're going to try to open our knees to the ground. So we're going to try to get our knees to go down to the ground, but we're not going to push with our elbows. Instead, let your elbows rest in a neutral position so they're on there, but they're not doing anything. And I'm going to try to get my legs to get away from my elbows, okay? So I'm here in my relaxed position, and now I'm going to pull with my legs. So if I did this without hands, it looks like this. I'm opening, so I'm here, relaxed, and then I'm opening as far as I can, and I'm holding it there, and then I can relax, okay? So those are the two things. Number one is resisting to close. Number two is trying to open, okay? Those are the two things. So 5 more seconds, just stretching. So your normal butterfly stretch like you would, pushing down with your elbows, relaxing everything in. And what we're going to do is I'm going to count to 5 again. As I count to 5, you're going to start pushing into your elbows. When I get to 5, you're going to hold that push, so you're going to keep pushing and hold it there. And then I'm going to stop. Once I get to the end, you're going to relax down into the stretch. We'll do that one more time where we push, and then we'll come back. And then we're going to do one where we try to pull our knees down without any help from our arms. Just our knees are trying to do it. Our legs are trying to get to the ground, okay? So here we go. Start to push against your elbows for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold that push for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax back into the stretch. You can push a little bit with your elbows, but don't do anything with your legs. Just let them be, and you're stretching, okay? Okay, we're going to do that again. We're starting to push for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now we're holding that push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax it down. I already can feel the difference. I'm a little bit further down into my stretch than I was before, and it feels just about the same. So I didn't just push myself down. Because I've done this resistance, my legs have loosened up a little bit, and I can feel it working, okay? Now we're going to build a little bit of extra strength by trying to do this all with our legs. So now my elbows aren't doing anything. My knees are trying to touch the floor, and I have to try to open my legs. So it's the same idea as going from here to here. If you look, I'm opening, and I'm just going to keep opening, and this is going to be really hard to do, and I'm going to open, and try to get my knees to the floor, okay? Remember, it doesn't have to be full effort. You should just feel a little bit of resistance here, okay? Here we go. So, same thing, we're going to open for 5, hold the open for 5, and then we're done, okay? So open for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it open. Knees are trying to get to the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more time, let's just relax into the stretch. Okay? And we're going to do that one more time. I like it. It felt good. We're doing it again. Okay? So we're trying to open for 5 seconds. Here we go. Open for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it open for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Give your legs a wiggle. Okay. That was a crazy episode. I was not expecting to talk that much. But it's a really complicated subject. And how do I explain it to you? I don't know. Maybe I did a good job. Maybe I did a bad job. If you are interested, go on the internet. You guys should go to ecosia.com, which is ECOSIA. It is a web search like Google, but it's better than Google because every time you search, the advertisement money, so Google makes money off of ads too, sorry about this, but the advertisement money, they spend it on planting trees so that way the environment gets better. Okay? So you guys can go on ecosia.com or ecosia.org, one of those two, and search. Instead of Google, I'm not going to say Google. Don't Google it. Ecosia it. Because then you're planting trees and you're doing good things. PNF stretching. So get mom and dad to help you out, please. Tell them Coach Alex is talking about proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, and I want to know more. And you guys can check it out. It'll be cool. I'll add a link in the YouTube description as well to the webpage that I was researching most recently. It's not the first time I've heard of it. It's not the first time I've practiced it, but I'll add that link so you guys can check it out. Cool. Thank you for joining me for a very, very strange episode of Let's Get Bendy with Coach Alex. This has been PNF stretching. We're going to do more of this, but I'm not going to talk as much about it. That was really strange, but I don't care because I think it's important. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.